attentive and healthy mouths.
Qala namhlanje ukwakha ikusasa elingcono ngeNetbank yona. Yonga imali uzilungiselele isikhathi ozoyidinga ngazo kakhulu ngeaccount yeJust Save. Qala ukonga ngemadlana encane esukela ku-R50.
Mina ngangena ngigijima kulelo bhali.
Yiya kunoma yiphi iNetbank. Make things happen. Netbank.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's 12 minutes to 7 o'clock here on Morning Night. If you missed the first installment of our discussion, you can still catch up as we continue to talk about financial and legal considerations that should be employed prior to tying the knot to avoid some messy, complicated divorces, which some we regularly see in the newspapers. I mean, we see it all the time. We've got some experts in studio to share the matter with us. We've got Sylvia Walker, Old Mutual's Development Manager in our Cape Town studios, and Michael Motswaneng, who is the founder and director of Motswaneng Bill Attorneys. Michael, let's pick up with you. Let's talk about the role of women in marriage and what happens, because a lot of the time you find that some women stop working as soon as they do get married and they do become dependent on their husbands entirely. They have children, they stay at home, and you know, it's a reality. It does happen. I mean, to become a full-time mother, that is a harder job than any other job out there, and that is a fact. But I mean, talk to us of the implications of something like this.
Well, traditionally, it was always a good idea for the mum to stay at home and take care of the kids. But one of the things that we have to guard against in modern day society is, depending on the marriage regime that you've entered into, deciding to stay at home and take care of the kid could hurt you financially in the long run. So that's one of the things that you got to think about. In the beginning of the discussion, we spoke about the different marriage regimes. If you married in community of property, the decision to stay at home and take care of the kids is a good one, and it has no financial implications. But if you married out of community of property, it means during the time where you are staying at home and taking care of the children, the husband is accumulating his wealth and is growing his estate, and you're not.
Yeah.
So that's the danger that a lot of women are not guarding against, to say, husband, if I'm going to stay at home, what is it that we are doing to ensure that we maintain some equality in terms of the growth in our states?
Yeah, which is vital. That's something you have to think of. I can't understand how women don't think about that.
You know, when things are hunky-dory and you're having a wonderful time, you don't think about it. And of course, a lot of couples would listen to us this morning and think of what we're saying as being pessimistic.
Yeah.
But the truth is, at the end of it all, you're going to look at it and reflect and say, I've been sitting at home. We married out of community of property. Sitting at home, not working for the last 5 years. I've lost out on career growth and potential income. And as a result, I didn't grow my estate. And therefore, I'm left poorer than you as my husband.
Yeah. All right, Sylvia. You know, I've often joked at dinner conversation, spoken about it, that a married couple, you can bring out the best in each other, which you do, and you can bring out the worst in each other, and that is unbelievable. I mean, you can press buttons that nobody else can press when you're in those times when you're fighting, and I can only imagine if you're going through a divorce what it's really like. Do you find that a lot of the times women who enter into marriage and then, you know, reach the unfortunate phase where they are getting divorced come out a lot worse, and that women come out worse out of marriage than men?
I actually think both parties are worse off after a divorce, because if you think about it, suddenly you have two sets of household expenses. You know, divorce wreaks financial havoc for both people at the end of the day. The thing is, women could be worse off and often are worse off because invariably they get custody of the children. And that's where the problem comes in. It's not necessarily in the expenses, but it's in the custody of the children and the raising of the children. We've done some interesting research actually at Old Mutual. We have found that of urban single mothers, only 50% roughly receive support from the father of the children. So that's when the problems really come in, where one can argue that women are worse off post-divorce.
Interesting questions coming through here. I want to quickly pose a few of them. I'm going to stop what I'm asking and find out what viewers want to know. Michael, quickly, Miss E wants to know, is it possible to change from in community to out of community while you're still married?
It is possible. It is somewhat difficult. That's what we call a post-nuptial contract.
Okay.
So ordinarily, you wouldn't have to go to court to get a post-nuptial contract, an anti-nuptial contract, but for a post-nuptial contract, you would have to go to court. But it's relatively easy.
Yeah, so it is relatively easy.
It is relatively easy.
Excellent. That's good news to know. Here's another one. Can your guest please explain? This is from JD Mdu. Please explain the significance of seeing a marriage counselor before the big leap. Do you recommend something along these lines? I mean, I've interviewed people who've said, go and see a marriage counselor before you even get married. Sylvia, what do you think?
Geez, I'm not an expert. That's not my area of expertise. But I would say, I suppose, a third opinion or another opinion is always a good idea. Yeah, marriages are not for the faint-hearted.
I suppose so.
It's two worlds that really come together. Two sets of perceptions on life, on finances, on all different aspects. So, yeah, it may be a good idea. But as I say, it's not my area of expertise at all.
But not, okay, let's not talk marriage counseling. That is, you're right, that's a completely different, but definitely come and see somebody before you get married about your finances. I mean, why get married and then suddenly when you've come back from honeymoon and then, the confetti settles down and the cake has been eaten,
yes.
And then suddenly you wake up and you look at each other and you're sitting around the breakfast table and you say, okay, now I'm going to work and you're going to work and we're married, so what are we going to do? Shouldn't you discuss this before you get married?
You know what's the other interesting aspect to this, Leanne, is people's perception towards money and spending. Some people are spenders and some are savers. And I've known of situations where it's caused havoc in marriages because there are two different attitudes towards money, towards spending and saving. So, that in itself is a discussion that needs to happen before the marriage, before the marriage takes place.
Yeah.
How are we going to handle the joint expenses? And, what are the two different perceptions towards money and towards managing money?
Absolutely.
Because that can cause a lot of stress, a huge amount of stress.
Yeah, it certainly can. We haven't even discussed the issue of a rural marriage and traditional marriage. So that's a completely different conversation, or is it?
Yes and no. I think my experience has been there's been a big alignment of the indigenous customary law with the civil law. Before we used to have a situation where the wife could not inherit. With the various constitutional court rulings, the wife can inherit. So whatever we say for civil marriage, whatever we're talking about today applies equally to customary marriages.
Okay. Sylvia, from your side?
I think maybe I think maybe she's just a bit more vulnerable, your rural woman. I don't know. Maybe she's not, employed as economically independent as what your more educated city woman is. So perhaps she is more vulnerable at the end of the day.
All right.
It's possible.
Final words from both of you. I mean, we've got probably about 30 seconds left. Sylvia, I'm going to leave you. Give us some parting shots, advice in getting marriage for both women and men.
Sorry, Leanne, just repeat that. I just lost you for a minute.
Your final closing words. Just some advice in a few seconds.
Just protect yourself as a woman. Take care of your own finances and don't lose your heart, but don't lose your mind when you get married.
I like that. Lose your heart, but don't lose your brain when you get married. I like that.
Yes.
That's a nice one. I'll add the brain in there for you, because it happens. You know that. Michael?
Yes, it does. It does.
Well, my parting words, as can be expected from a lawyer, are thus: you have to consult a lawyer. You have to understand the different marriage regimes in relation to your finances and your aspirations. If you understand the marriage regime that you want to enter into and you understand its full consequences, you are more likely to consider, like Sylvia said, the financial implications as well as other relevant implications.
All right. Thank you, both of you. Thank you for joining us. Sylvia Walker.
Thanks so much.
Old Mutual's Marketing Development Manager, thank you very much for talking to us from our Cape Town studios. And Michael Motswaneng, the founder and director of Motswaneng Bill Attorneys. I hope we've helped you out there. I really do. Some people still asking us questions and also saying, what to do. Again, Sean Best saying, I'm busy with a marriage counseling course and I recommend it for all couples that are about to get married. So this is great. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating. And I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Let's take a break. News at 7 after this. Stay tuned.
Today on the Buy Smart list, Golden Cloud Ready Mixes. Golden Cloud Ready Mixes. Convenient quality ingredient you can trust to deliver that delicious homemade taste. It's so quick and easy that anyone can serve up a little homemade happiness. Just put it together and look at the beautiful cake you've got. Golden Cloud, the secret's in the softness. Golden Cloud Ready Mixes. If it's on our list, make sure it's on yours.
Imagine feeling mentally and physically sharp every day. Barocca Performance is a performance multivitamin to be taken every day, instead of every so often. It's pharmaceutically designed to enhance mental, Queen to D4, and physical performance. Barocca Performance, seriously sharp every day.
Life could be a dream. If I could take you out in paradise above, and you will tell me I'm the only one in love. Life could be a dream. It has never